and sisters, so that you and I will know the importance of the roots of a tree. Because you can't heat the roots of a tree and not heat the tree. You can't heat your origin and not end up heating yourself. I point these things out so that you and I will know the importance of being in complete unity with each other, harmony with each other, and not letting the man maneuver us into fighting one another.
Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. I know it's been a minute since you've heard from me. I wanted to make sure that we're organizing correctly here on our front. We're running several companies, making sure that all of these companies are successful, but also assisting other people in setting up their companies, their trust, and making sure that they're successful as well. Again, peace and blessings to you all. Peace to the gods we trust. We came up with this estate letter for COVID-19. This estate letter is very important because it gives you the opportunity to protect your estate. It also puts you in a superior position. It also gives you the confidence to protect yourself and your family. Make sure you use this letter. This letter is free. I put this letter together myself, but more importantly, we received these letters and some of the information from attorneys who agree that what's going on throughout the world, not only in this country, but throughout the world, is absolutely inhumane and wrong. So the attorneys gave us these letters and told us, go ahead, use these letters. You don't even need any attorneys once you use these letters. You can pretty much represent or represent your own estate in regard to these situations. You get these particular entities into default, and once you have them into default, you win before you step in foot into any courtroom. So it's important for you to understand these letters, understand the application of these letters, what they mean, what they say, what they mean in regard to the protection of you, your family, your children, and your estate, and how to effectively put public officials on notice using these letters. Again, whenever you send something out, you want to send it certified mail, return receipt, green card. You can use restricted delivery if you want it to go to a particular person, i.e. a governor or a particular public official. Okay, let's take a look at these letters because it's very important that you understand what's going on here. One of the things that I want to point out first is that at the bottom of this letter, I put an article from the Attorney General. It was an article about statements that the Attorney General, William Barr, made in regard to the COVID-19 situation, in regard to the states, and how the states were implementing various measures in regard to COVID-19. They know that the states can overreach, and they know that the states can violate both state and federal law. So the Attorney General here in this particular article, it says Attorney General Barr says Justice Department may support lawsuits if states go too far in COVID-19 constraints. So if you read through this here, it says U.S. Attorney General William Barr said Tuesday that the Department of Justice will consider supporting lawsuits when states go too far in restricting commerce and civil liberties in the fight against COVID-19. Barr talked about the DOJ's role in an interview with radio talk show host Hugh Hewitt, reported Bloomberg, NBC News, and NPR. Barr said COVID-19 shutdown orders were imposed for limited purposes of bending the curve, not as a comprehensive way to fight COVID-19, according to a transcript. Now, the shutdowns are slowing the spread of the virus. More targeted approaches are needed, he said. Hewitt asked Barr whether citizens could file lawsuits against governments that failed to reduce restrictions, either under the Takings Clause of Section 1983 of the Civil Rights Act, go figure, 1983. Barr replied that the first line of defense for people is the political process in their states. Barr added, however, that if people sue, the DOJ will look at it at that time, and if we think it's, justified, we would take a position. That's where we're doing that. That's what we're doing now. We're looking carefully at a number of these rules that are being put into place, and if we think one goes too far, we initially tried to jawbone the governors into rolling them back, telling them what to do, or adjusting them. And if they're not, and people bring lawsuits, we file statement of interest and side with the plaintiffs. So again, folks, the point that I'm trying to make with this article is that once you get these particular documents done and you sue them civilly, you have the right to sue them criminally. And that's what these lawyers want you to do. That's why they gave us these letters. They said, here, take these letters, Moziah Corporation, and hand these out to your clients because we know what you're doing and you're telling people the truth. So we want your people to continue to succeed, but we want people around the world to continue to succeed and to fight this particular process with COVID-19 and to not allow governments, whether federally, state, or locally, to try and force people to either vaccinate, force people to test, force people to trace contact, all of that nonsense. Again, so take a look at these documents, make these documents your own. They're comprehensive. A lot of this stuff was written by attorneys. A lot of the follow up measures and the procedures of implementation were put in place by us. We want you to be safe. We have children of our own. We want to make sure that we protect our children as well as your children. So, again, this is a free document pack. And again, as a private banker, the most important thing that we do is we send out our documents in packs. We know that our documents are tools. One document by themselves is a tool, by itself is a tool. 4 or 5 documents in conjunction with each other are 4 or 5 tools. So you just have to know based on the situation which documents would be appropriate. And again, golden rules when sending your documents, you want to always send them to the principal. All right, shit rolls downhill. So if you send it to the top, it's most likely going to make its way down to the bottom, but it came from the top as it goes to the bottom. So whoever gets it at the bottom knows that they better address it because it came from the top. This is a psychology in public office and in governmental office and governmental bodies when it comes to the levels of hierarchy and how things get addressed in these agencies. So we always send things to the principal. Notice the principal is notice to agent. Again, when you read through these documents, you will see, for example, this one here, your declaration of a state of emergency for COVID-19 diagnosis criteria for a series of pneumonia and influenza-related symptoms, and the allegations of the existence of a novel coronavirus is based on a series of assumptions that are patently false. So if you know that's how we're starting this, you can imagine what it's going to say as you get through this. Again, this is free for you and your families. I want to thank each and every one of you who are clients. I want to thank each and every one of you who are pursuing freedom. It's important that you make sure that you find out the truth in this ridiculous sea and abyss of false media and what the media is trying to program you with. Remember, mind control devices back in the 20s had patents that were filed with the patent and the trademark and patent office of the U.S. federal government. These mind control devices looked exactly like TVs. This was back in the 1920s. Fast forward to 2020. Everyone has a TV in their hand. So these are mind control devices. They're smartphones, but you have to be the smarter. That phone can't do anything unless you tell it to do. Yes, it might have AI in it, and yes, it might be tracking certain biological features that you're going through because you can think about going outside, and all of a sudden your smartwatch is going to give you the weather. So you know that they've got AI integrated into these things. And by this diagnosis of COVID-19, they want to test, but 50% of the tests are false negatives and false positives. So what do you really believe? And then they tell you that you have it when you really don't. Then they put you on a ventilator and you die because you never really had it. And all the people that are dying, whether you died from a heart attack, whether you got hit by a car, whether hell you jumped out of a plane, you died from COVID-19. Ridiculous. I lost an aunt during this nonsense. She had chronic COPD, and of course, the death certificate, they want to try and say it's COVID-19. Again, folks, it's important for us to wake up, understand what's going on around you, and position yourself on this chessboard of life with the right moves first. This is not checkers, it is chess. You want to make sure you know how every document works and then how documents can work in conjunction with each other. You want to know where to send it to the principal. If you're going to file it in public record, you can do it with your UCC1. If you came through us, you're set for life. You can use your UCC1 as your private public record. If you ever have hard times going down to the county clerk's office and the woman behind the desk is giving you a hard time because she's perjuring her oath of office and trying to tell you that she won't file certain documents in violation of her oath of office, circumvent that nonsense and file it on a UCC3, make it a part of your UCC1. Remember, your UCC1 is perpetual, it's forever. And then the collateral effect of that is that it's public record. Okay, understand this process and these procedures. And remember, the clerk of the court is the one that you always want to send your documents to with an affidavit of mailing proving that you put it in a particular post office at a particular location at a particular time on a particular day because you got it notarized, and that is your cover sheet to anything you send to the clerk. Why? Because that will force them under their oath of office to file and maintain the public record. That is the clerk's job, is to maintain the public. The clerk is the banker, not the judge, not the prosecutor, not the plaintiff. It's about the clerk. Understand that. And understand that once you get your information onto the public record, after 30 days, it's the law, especially if it's in affidavit form. So master your affidavits. Each and every one of you, I have a high regard of you. I put you all on high because I know that you have unlimited credit. We as human beings have unlimited credit. Full faith and credit comes from us. The economy moves around us. If we stay home and we don't do anything, the economy sinks. All you had to do is look at COVID-19 and the way it treated everything. Everyone stayed home, nothing happened. But when we're out and we're about and we're spending and we're moving commerce and we're contracting and we're transacting, that's when the economy moves. And that paper that you have in your pocket, those worthless pieces of paper, those Federal Reserve notes, are slowly but surely getting converted into electronic form. Master these forms of currency, your negotiable instruments. If you set your trust up with us, you are set for life. You have the ability to write unlimited credit based on the way that we did your documents for you. So as you look through these documents here, you'll see they're very comprehensive. Let's stay focused on this subject. It's all about protecting ourselves and our family. And when you see these documents, you can read through them and verify the information, and you customize these documents to make them your own. Please don't send us a lot of questions on these free documents. These are free. I put them together and I spent some time and I invested some time, but it's well worth it because it protects me and my family. So I did it for my family. And the collateral effect is now I turn them into template form so you can use them for yourself and your family. So I wish you all many, many blessings, many, many success. Make sure you don't have to contact Trace. You don't have to open your door for anyone. You can put a no trespassing sign, no soliciting sign right on your front lawn or right on your front door. And if you're in a house, on each of the corners, the left and the right corner of your house, put private property. No public official can step foot onto your property, especially if it says no trespassing and no soliciting. Okay? So you have to know these things. You have to understand these things about how to make sure that you keep them at bay, but you maintain your privacy as well. You have to step out into the public because this whole entire society is public, but you are the private. In order for you to step out into the public, you have to make sure that you know how to reserve your rights at every single turn of the corner because they will contract with you. So you have the right to contract with them. So you invoke your contract on the spot. You learn how to invoke it verbally. Use your smartphone. It's for smart people. Activate your camera, hit video, hit record, and start asking questions. Let them put themselves in the air. You'll come along later on and you'll kick away the chair. And you'll have all the documentation to prove it. Make sure you read through these documents and understand these documents and fill them out accordingly. And if you want to make them public, you can. But remember, there's a level of privacy and a level of public. Certain documents you want public, certain documents you want to maintain privacy with. If you're dealing with the public, make those documents public, especially if you're dealing with public officials. They don't want you to. This is why the clerk is trying to prevent people from filing their documents in the public. This is why attorneys are blockers. They're in the way. They're preventing you from effectively using the system, so they want to circumvent you and your wealth and usurp your wealth by way of attorney fees. You got to pay them whether you win or you lose. Really? Okay, no problem. So now we're going to contract with you. It's $250,000 for every 15 minutes of my liberty, and it's $500,000 for every time my name appears on a piece of paper. Where do I send my invoices? To the risk manager, the controller, the governor. Send it to the governor. Certified mail return receipt. He's got to forward it over. He's got to do his job and forward it over to the risk manager. The risk manager is responsible for settling the public debts or public offenses committed against private people by public servants. That's what the risk manager is for. So again, Standard Form 95, become familiar with that. That's at the federal level with the Department of Justice Tort Claims Division. And once you finish all these forms and you finish all these processes, there's no need to step foot into their ships, their courts. Everything goes by way of risk management and tort. Tort is private contract law. Okay? A public official commits an offense against a private man, that's a tort. So you go where? Where do we go to handle these situations? We go to the Department of Justice Tort Claims Division. Okay? Here's the Federal Tort Claims Act. Google it. It's a PDF. Download it. Make yourself privy to it. Make yourself aware of what it is and how it's administered. Then here's the contact information for the Department of Justice Tort Claims Division. Okay? The Federal Tort Claims Act Litigation Section, the FTCA section, is located in downtown Washington near the Noma Gallaudet, New York Avenue Metro Station. The office is physically located at 175 North Street, 175 North Street Northeast on the 11th floor in the 3 Con building. And here is the Federal Tort Claims Act section, Torts Branch, Civil Division, U.S. Department of Justice, P.O. Box 888, Benjamin Franklin Station, Washington, D.C. 244. Folks, let's do a search. Let's go get Standard Form 95. Standard Form 95 is a claim for damage or injury. We all witnessed Mr. Floyd's death on TV live, okay? Whether it's playback video or playback multiple times on YouTube, it's available. You should not have to see a man die in front of your eyes on TV. There are people that will be liable for that. 1, the state of Minnesota. 2, the actual officer. 3, the media outlets that are continually putting that into rotation. That's traumatizing to you and it's traumatizing to your children. That will embed itself into your subconscious, and that becomes a part of your existence now that you have seen something like that. So, based on that and based on this COVID-19 nonsense that they're trying to force down our throat, you have the right to file your claim at the federal level. Claim for damage, injury, or death. Okay? And this is by federal principals, agents, officials, or anyone that they're liable for. And guess what, folks? They're liable for all the states. Why? Because they give the states federal funding. States get federal, and they're liable for all the police officers because they get federal grants and federal funding for body cams, equipment, cars, you name it. They're liable. Make yourself privy, folks. Make yourself aware of what these forms are and how they're supposed to be filled out. Protect yourselves and your family. This is a free COVID-19 estate pack that you can have for yourself, free of charge, because it's all about us and it's all about freedom. But the government was put in place by the people, for the people. Anytime the government is trying to act upon the people, that is tyranny. And the people must stand up. So if you're out there and you're Second Amendment people, we stand with you. If you're white people, we stand with you if you stand with us. If you're Latino, we stand with you if you stand with us. If you're black, we stand with you if you stand with us. But the hate must cease. There's hate everywhere. Black people are hating each other. White folks are hating black people. White folks are hating Latinos. Latinos are hating black people. Black people are hating on other people. Black people are hating on themselves. Latinos are hating on themselves. White people are hating on themselves. It's ridiculous. Okay, that's another video, another time. I don't have time for that. The most important thing here is the protection of you and your family during this COVID-19 crisis. Don't let these riots rock you to sleep. Don't let what they're doing behind the scenes rock you to sleep. And I got one more thing before we go. Let's go back to the Republic. If you're a Democrat in a political party or a Republican in a political party, nonsense. If you're part of the Republic, you're the original creditors of the country. You're part of the original creditorship of this country. Your name might not be on the Constitution, and that was a promissory note. But by way of the birth certificate and the creation of USA Inc. and blah, 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 social security number, we know the ropes. We perfect our security interests. We get the superior claim. The way we file for you is we file forever. I wish you all well. Be well. Be blessed. We don't get upset. We get results. We're not going to be out there burning stuff down because there's other people coming from other states that are white supremacists and all kinds of other people that are trying to create anarchists, trying to create nonsense and burn down people's livelihoods in their own community while they go back to their own community and then they blame the people that live there and say, oh, look what they did to their community. Nonsense. Stay woke, folks. We know what's going on. Stay woke. Be well. Be blessed. Moziah out.
To control everything and own nothing.
In the history of this nation, have so many people been for the cause of freedom and human dignity. Now let me say this, keep this movement going, keep this movement rolling. Long as we keep moving like we are moving, the power structure will have to give in. In spite of the difficulties, and we're going to have a few more difficulties, keep trying, keep moving. If you can't fly,
in a box.